You know, when you're on the street shooting all the time, you constantly have to have new ways of seeing the street, right? So in April, when the trees still are kind of bare and the sun though is stronger and it's pushing light through these trees, you know, I think I was having fun in April trying to figure out how do I place someone on the sidewalk where maybe I would have taken them where there was straight shade, all shade, or taken them straight into the light. Here it was more fun to try and figure out how to put her in this tree to let the lines and the shadows work as an element on her. It's about a certain elegance and a certain grandeur, which, that's certainly a part of it. I think it's hard to find that in today's world, so it's something that always attracts my attention. But I think what makes it unique is that it can be a house painter, it can be a guy playing basketball, it can be really anything that creates something that's visually interesting. You know, one of the things I think that has helped the site evolve, or that I knew really from the very beginning, is that with the internet, you can speak to an international audience. And even though we're separated by language, we're not separated by visuals. Here it's an element of the lifestyle here. So it just looks different in photographs. You know, you'll have guys dressed up in suits on a skateboard. It just feels different here, where you'll never see that in Milan. So when I'm shooting, one of the things I did in the very beginning is, as opposed to putting someone up against the wall and just taking a picture that's a report of what they're wearing, I moved them off the wall more to the street, so then you get a sense of the street furniture in each city is different. You know, the benches, the trash cans, the signage is different. The language literally is different. When I started the blog, there was really nobody doing it as a business at that point. You know, this was almost 7 years ago. And I think it was something that was kind of a hobby. You know, they're easier to do than websites. But I think quickly people realized, whether it was in fashion or political or something like that, blogs, because of how simple they are to actually do, and that anytime if you have a good, clear, unique, clear voice, people will find that. And there is a way of making a career out of that. Before I started as a photographer or doing the blog, I had spent 15 years in the fashion business, in sales and marketing. So I already had kind of a reasonably good idea of how to go about doing something like that, which the core of it was always to maintain the art. I hadn't really planned on being a photographer. So of course, when you get the first couple of calls, Paris Vogue wants you to shoot a supplement, and do you want to shoot something for Italian Vogue? And of course you think, yeah, okay, that'll be cool. But I'm self-aware enough that, I tried it a couple of times and I liked the idea of it, and I liked working with those great magazines, but it didn't bring the emotional response that I wanted. So I do less of that now. Or if I do, I still do a lot of commercial work with clients, but I'm very clear, how I work. When I started this, a lot of people were inspired and they started their own sites, and I think in the big picture, the thing that's been really nice is, before, I think fashion and shows and all that seemed very elitist and very far away from a lot of people. Now, I think people are able to pick up a camera and say, oh, I started a blog, and go stand at the shows, and they somehow, I think, feel closer to fashion, which is always better. I mean, it loses a little bit of the elan and the mystery and the, I don't want to say exclusivity, but it's almost like if there was baseball and nobody was allowed to go to a baseball game except a few people. Now, and that's why sports are so much bigger than even fashion, because so many people can feel included. They can either go to the game, watch it on TV, whatever, root for their team. And so I think, this idea of blogs and the internet has really been able to help bring fashion to a wider audience. So, photographically, I don't know what it means, but I know, as someone who was a 15-year-old growing up in Indiana who felt so far away from fashion, I think it'd be great to grow up now and feel like you're a little bit closer to that world. That world seems so far away. Hopefully a beautiful document of, this is how it felt, this is the atmosphere, there was smoke, there was fog, whatever it was. So, that's really about just kind of being in the moment and trying to capture that as opposed to being, I was never really wowed by the situation, just more as a challenge. You know, you don't want it to become overexposed, but that's why, you know, the way I do it anyway, I don't really try to report facts or specifics. Mine is really just kind of the dream of what that thing is, you know, the romance. I'm very keyed into what the romance of that world is.